Why can I hear the light? It's okay, we've been here before. Carry on the light, they won't know it hurts more. It's okay, we've been here before. Carry on the light, they won't know it hurts It's okay, we've been here before. Carry on the light, they won't know it hurts more.
Hello and welcome to the HP Podcast, episode number 275. I'm Ben, and with me here today is the lovely David. Hello, David.
Hey Ben, how you
got
doing?
chosen today to be the lovely. I don't really know why, but that's just how the chips fell.
That's okay. I'll take it.
Okay.
It's nice to be called lovely.
Mhm.
It's a nice change from handsome, I guess, but lovely is good. It's very spring-like to be called lovely.
Yeah, I want to
Um,
change it up so you don't feel like it's just, repetition. Like if I told you like I love you all the time, you'd start to not believe it maybe. So that's why I just make sure never to tell anybody I love them too often.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. I occasionally need you, Ben, to tell me that like you can't live without me. Just to switch it up.
I'm here
'Cause,
without you, baby.
yeah, singing
I'll
it
just
in that
start. I'll
voice
just sing.
makes it
Yeah.
even better. But you can't do that every day either, because that would get old very quickly. But yeah,
Wow,
I
that
think you
was
got the
insulting.
idea.
That
Yeah.
was yeah.
That's okay.
Felt like maybe you didn't like my voice or something
So
there.
you don't love me anymore. That's what you're saying.
You don't bring me flowers anymore, Dave. When's the last time you brought me flowers, Dave? Brandon, you brought me flowers just recently in my dreams. How are you doing tonight?
Fan-fucking-tastic, boys. Feeling like $1 million.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me right before the show you're a little sunburned.
Yeah, I was out on the quad, out on the deck, drinking a couple beers. I think that may be the most beers that I've ever drank in one sitting. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I've seen you drink more beers than that before.
Dude, no, I swear to God, I had like probably 10 or 11. I don't think I've ever had that many in one sitting.
Like an hour before we left there, you said you were like on your 8th beer.
Dude,
I don't
no,
think you drank 3
I
more
drank
after
a
that.
whole 6-pack. I drank
Yeah.
2 of Dustin's beer, and I drank a pounder, which is almost 2 beers.
Okay, now you're getting into semantics. That was
That's what we
technically
call
it was in one container. That's 1 beer.
All right, buddy.
that's what we
All right.
call a couple 2-tree beers.
Okay,
So
buddy.
when you lost count, you just default to a couple 2-tree.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
No, but I had a mostly good time. I was drinking and riding the quad,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you guys have ever ridden a quad. I've ridden a couple quads in my life. I can't do the whole 2-wheel thing. I wish I could. But at one point, I was going around a bend, and I had been drinking, and I was off of balance just a little bit, and my leg just for a moment got caught in between the ground and the peg that your foot stands on. And I don't know that I've ever had a worse bruise on my leg in my entire life.
Wow.
It hurts really bad. And at the
Yeah.
time, I was like, yeah, that kind of hurt. But as the days have went on, it's gotten significantly worse.
The alcohol numbed it.
Yeah, but now we're just kind of living with it. Now
Yeah.
we're just kind of living with it.
Yeah.
It'll come out in the wash. It'll be gone before I'm married, if that ever happens. Yeah, it's you live and you learn. And honestly, it was a learning experience, and I will cherish it forever.
Nice. Yeah, I grew up around people with quads and dirt bikes. I never had one of my own, but I've definitely ridden them a lot. And the whole 2-wheel thing, you just need to watch the Fast and the Furious more, and you'll understand. It just comes
Oh,
naturally
okay.
then after that. Yeah.
That easy,
It's
yeah.
the same concept. Yeah.
Right,
Drop a
sure.
plane out of a helicopter, land it, no damage to the frame, do a wheelie on a quad. It's just like one after the other.
Natural
it.
progression.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Guys, is that whole thing about if you drink, you get more sunburnt true? Or is it just because when you drink, you're not realizing you're getting sunburned?
I think
think
that's. Yeah, go ahead.
I think we're probably going to say the same thing, but I think it's just numbing the pain, so you don't feel it.
Yeah.
You don't care. You're
And
drunk.
I actually think there's a lot of things that have to do with like there's no science behind them, but the alcohol, like there's an easy explanation. Like what's the saying, like beer before liquor,
Yeah.
Oh, they did that on MythBusters.
liquor before beer. The thing is like I think it's more like if you drink beer first, you're already starting to get drunk, and so you don't realize how much liquor you're drinking, and not necessarily that it will like physiologically make you sick.
Yeah, I've drank beer and then liquor and then vice versa.
Dude,
I always mix whatever I'm feeling at the moment, and I've never had. I mean, I don't mix them together.
I mix
Yeah,
everything.
The one exception is when you put red wine into the mix of anything, that
Oh,
fucks
God.
everything up.
Oh God.
So
Alright,
if you
Yeah,
never
drink
had
a
that.
glass of red wine, just drink red wine, but don't mix it with anything else.
Dude,
Otherwise,
there's been nights where it's like I got a clear fridge and it's like there's 3 different kinds of beer and I want liquor. All right. It's like some people are like, I don't mix. Like, my stomach is a fucking blender. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I don't have any issue with that at all. I think the problem is just a lot of people, their bodies suck and they need an excuse.
Dude, my
for
body
why.
sucks.
Yeah,
But
but
I'm not a bitch.
there you go. That's really
just
what it is.
I
think.
deal with the consequences of my action and I don't complain sometimes.
Speaking of bitches, not to delay the beginning of the show any further, do you guys hear the new diss track from Kenny today?
Of course we did.
Just
Well,
wanted to-
of course I did. Yeah, it's just the copium is strong. And I think there's like, do you guys know the whole thing where it's like there is such thing in America where like if you're too patriotic, like toxic patriotism or something, it can like dampen your cause because you're so blindly following something.
Mhm.
What's the equivalent for Canada? Because I feel like we're creeping upon that where like we're so just blinded to the maple flag and our Justin T I don't know. There's something happening here.
There's something there.
There's
Yeah.
something happening here, but I'm trying to draw some parallels. I don't know if you guys are picking up on it, but
Yeah, I think I
Um,
understand. I think basically you're just saying Canada sucks. Is what
no.
you're saying.
No. One of my main mans is from Canada, Dave.
That's right.
Um,
Davey.
I resent that I'm getting dragged into this so much, let alone 40 million Canadians. But I don't even know what you guys are talking. Like without the Discord today, which I muted, I wouldn't know what you guys were referring to. Like
that's
and
all
I
right.
had to ask my wife, and she explained it to me because she has Instagram. But otherwise, I know
See-
I'm dating myself here, but Can
See,
you guys
yeah.
just leave me out of this?
No,
I
no, you're not
understand-
dating yourself. This happened today and over the last like 2 months. You're not dating yourself. You're just showing that you have no my wife is the same way. She has no perception of what's happening in the world or the internet. She just knows what's happening to her, and that's great. I would love to be more like that.
That's the one thing my wife explained to me, Radek, is that this actually started with J. Cole, famed star of the Scarborough Shooting Stars. And that's all I know. Like, I know who J. Cole is, and I assume that Kenneth Lammer made fun of him, and then Drake came to his defense, something along those. I don't know, but
Did
then
you
I
just-
just kind of glazed over. So
Okay, first of all, that is all 100%
Wow.
wrong. But did you call him Kenneth Lammer? Was that intentional or an
what's
accident?
his name?
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, that's close.
Long story short, let me just tell you what happened. To make a
Let me give
very
you 10 years of history on this rap beef right now.
to make a very fucking long story short, J. Cole and Drake did a song claiming they were in the top 3, including Kendrick Lamar. And Kendrick took offense to that. And there's been a back and forth ever since. Clearly, Drake is the jester of the entire situation. And J. Cole was so tucked between his legs about the whole situation that he actually apologized at his own concert. Like, it's Dreamville. He put it on. He apologized to Kendrick at his own concert, which is on brand.
This
To
goes
be
back
fair-
further than that. We don't have time to get
I
into
know,
it, but this
I
goes back
know.
to like 2013 probably.
This is the more recent shit. But long story short, Kendrick Lamar put out a new track today, and he spilled Drake's guts on the pavement. That's exactly what happened.
That is a subjective comment, though.
No.
No.
Whether or not you like Kendrick or Kenneth Lander or whatever you called him, whether or not you like Kendrick more or you like Drake more, objectively, Kendrick spilled Drake's guts on the pavement today. Like, just the lyrics alone. Like,
Yeah, he's just
I'm not. If you don't like him, you don't want him to win. That's fine. But there was some stuff in
feel
there.
like I've been taken down with this as a Canadian.
Yeah,
this by
is-
virtue of the country I was born in, which I guess I shouldn't have been chose to be born in Canada. But
Dave,
go
you know
easy
how-
on me, fellas, because
you
as
know how-
I said in the Discord, my one contribution is to remind you that we still have people like Justin Bieber and Michael Bublé. So
thank God there is something good. And
Dave, you know how like sometimes depictions on TV, like, or maybe this really happens, but like somebody goes to a foreign country and they're like, oh, I just need the comfort food of America, so I'm just going to go to an American restaurant. And it's like cowboys and like a whole pile of fries on the table. That's what we get as Americans. So you're going to get the blowback of the Drake beef. That's
okay.
just because
I will
I'm sorry.
take your blowback then, but only yours.
Okay, that's fair enough.
that's not what you told me. Okay. Okay. Ben, we'll talk later. He's been telling me things.
Speaking of blowback, if you want to get in on the action, you can go over to patreon.com/handsomephantom. There is actually no blowback if you go over there. It's $1 a month. It starts at $1 a month. You can get ad-free early access. You really get the best deal at $1 per month. If you want ad-free audio access to the show, if you just want to support us, that's great too. You can also check us out here on YouTube every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also just hang out with us, whether you're a patron or not, over on Discord at handsomephantom.com/Discord. We'll hang out there. We did have a bit of, well, it's still going, really, a discussion about the whole Drake being a bitch situation.
Hey,
it's
hold
sad,
up.
but
I never ever would have brought it up. Like, I would never have said anything. I want to make it very clear. There are instigators in the Discord.
and in the chat tonight,
That's okay. That's okay. People
Yeah.
can be wrong, and like, it's fine that they're wrong. They're just wrong,
Right. By the way, maybe this starts something. I don't know. There's that web app called Suno.ai or something like Suno.com.
Yes.
Okay, so it basically, you can type in that you want it to make a song, and it will make a song to the genre and with really cheesy, bad lyrics. And the songs aren't good. But the fact that it exists at all is pretty cool.
Right.
I was going in there to make fun of Radek, who is a big Drake fan, and I don't actually care about these rap beefs at all.
Is
I
he?
just think the music is good. I think he actually is a big
Okay.
Drake fan. So I went on there and typed in, here's exactly what I typed. Well, this isn't exactly, I'm paraphrasing. Something along the lines of, make a rap diss song dissing Radek for liking Drake. And it came back and it not only dissed him for liking Drake, it also insulted his movie and video game tastes, which I did not tell it to do, but it knew.
AI is too
It
good.
knew.
AI is too good, man. It's scary good.
His reach is too far.
Well, one
Some of the
good
chat
thing
says
is this kind of took the heat off all the Skull and Bones hate.
no,
For
it's
at
still
least
there.
today.
Yeah, maybe.
Dave is so defeated. Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
I hate to see you like this. I do.
Guys, let's talk about video games. I guess if we have to. I was like grasping for news today, and it almost became, let's just talk about rap.
Yeah.
Honestly, but I knew Dave would be in the dark a little more than usual. Number 1. According to Jez Corden on the Xbox 2 podcast, Xbox is eager to see Fallout 5 released sooner rather than later, possibly within this decade. Oh my gosh. Within the next 6 years? Wow.
Big news.
Rather than waiting for Bethesda to finish The Elder Scrolls 6, another studio, likely Obsidian Entertainment, could handle Fallout 5's development. Bethesda Game Studios studio design director discussed the complexities of game development, emphasizing the importance of time and talented developers in creating quality games like Starfield and Fallout. Boys, all of a sudden, just according to Jez, which is he's a reliable source. I've personally talked to Jez before. I've been on podcasts with him before. I've heard his reporting. Yeah, he gets stuff wrong sometimes, but mostly he's a decently reliable person. Says the Xbox decided that they need to make Fallout 5 faster than they were planning on it before. This comes just after the smash success of the TV show and all of the games having like newly revived player counts. Brandon, what the hell is wrong with Microsoft that they just realized, oh yeah, one of our biggest franchises that we now own, that we owned after getting Bethesda, maybe we should do something with it.
Yeah. I mean,
What's going on?
honestly, they're still like, Starfield's going to be good. Yeah. They're still just like, they're still holding out. They're like, people are going to come back. We're going to put out the DLC. They're like plotting. Someone pitched a Starfield show in the past 2 weeks. I just know it. But seriously though, like, I don't know. They got some gold IP, and the fact that it takes them so long, I love to see that studios like Obsidian are in the mix, because from my understanding, and I feel like I remember seeing some reporting on this a little bit back, was that Obsidian pitched another game and they kind of got shot down by Bethesda, if I'm remembering that right. So I love to see that they're interested in potentially giving some other talented studios a chop at it. Not that Fallout 4 wasn't perfect the way it was, but I think the IP stands largely enough that I think that studios like Obsidian or Obsidian-like studios like New Vegas were able to make something great, even if it wasn't the same all the time, the same
part
studio.
Of the core. Yeah.
So, no, I think this is great. I really, yeah, I mean, it is good. We have 2 huge IPs being worked on at a time. I think this is a win. And do I think this is mostly because of the show? Yes. Do I think that most of the people that make the decisions are probably brain dead executives? Probably. So I think that's probably to blame most of this. But especially with all the headlines coming out, they're like, oh, Scrooge McDuck, their fucking eyes just light up with dollar signs. So, no, I think this is good for gamers overall. I'm a Fallout fan myself, and having both of them being worked on at the same time, even if it is in the next decade, is good. We can manage this. Like, another studio can be handed this if it means that we get both of them, and it doesn't take the next 20 years to get both. So that's perfectly fine with me.
Dave, first of all, okay, yeah, Fallout 5. We want to make it. Sounds like it's not in development. We've kind of known that. 3 to 5 years minimum, and that's modern game development is pretty much 3 to 5 years minimum for AAA. Is that too late? Well, I mean, the rush is going to be over by that point. The Fallout show might even be over by that point. And then also, has Todd Howard lost a step after Starfield? That was just my own instigation. That wasn't. You don't really have to answer that part.
Yeah, I mean, they're all interesting thoughts, especially about Todd, just because, Starfield certainly didn't land the way we thought it would. And does that make people nervous about the next numbered entry in the Fallout series? And what does that mean for the Elder Scrolls? So, yeah, they're all valid questions. But I have to admit, the idea of Obsidian doing another Fallout game is pretty sick. I think they've earned a shot at a numbered sequel because I think for all intents and purposes, New Vegas was a full-fledged Fallout game. It wasn't numbered, and I don't know if it was supposed to be positioned as a spin-off, but it did feel like something of a side project, and Obsidian knocked it out of the park. It's that game is looked upon so fondly. So I think they've earned a shot, even if they're getting it through maybe not the best circumstances, i.e., Microsoft is rushing something to market, and this is Obsidian's opportunity to get another shot at the franchise. I think what's more concerning about this story is not that there are brain dead executives trying to rush something to market and strike while the iron's hot. I think it's the more concerning part is they're doing it because it's working. This trend of release it now, fix it later, we all get really angry in launch week, but our memories are so short, and we're seeing a perfect example of this right now with Fallout 76. So Fallout 76, we all know, the state in which it launched, it was completely unacceptable, yada yada yada. But now, like, everybody's playing that game. Like, that game has a new lease on life, and it's mostly because of the show, but it just kind of goes to show that big publishers are seeing that, like, they can get away with this. Cyberpunk last year had new life with Phantom Liberty. So I think this is potentially Microsoft saying, like, let's strike while the iron's hot, even if we're rushing it to market and not, launching in the best state that we can. Like, we can fix it later, and we're still going to make millions of dollars on this franchise. So I hope that isn't the case, but it certainly kind of feels like this is happening more and more, and we're either having short memories or being too forgiving or whatever. But yeah, I think having Obsidian as an asset, because they've worked on the franchise, so they can expedite the process with them. Like, I don't think you could throw Fallout at, like, I don't know, some other double A, triple A developer who hasn't worked on the franchise before and expect them to churn something out that quick. But with Obsidian, you can. But anytime you rush creatives, like, the product isn't going to be great. But
Right.
I don't know. It's too bad.
Yeah. I don't understand why it took them over a year after they announced it to do the next gen versions of Fallout 4, and then when they come out, a lot of people are mad because there's no noticeable differences and it broke all their mods. You had a year. Now, granted, you can't expect all the mods to be supported. I get it. If they're not official, especially. But the fact that it was like, I would hope they had something planned, or like had already started working on it when they announced it, and then it took over a year, and then it's still, people are like, it's fine. So I don't know. I think maybe they're stretched a little thin, and Fallout 4 was fine. It was great. Yeah, just put it up, make it accessible on native next gen, that's for current gen as it is now. That's fine. Isn't it funny that we're still calling things next gen, even though we are over halfway probably through the life cycle? Yeah. That's insane.
Honestly, and Ben, you said that a lot of people were complaining about the Fallout 4 upgrade. Honestly, I think the Fallout 4 upgrade was for console players. Like, everyone that's complaining on PC.
Well, there's mods on Xbox as well.
Licensed mods.
Yeah.
So, like, that, they're all approved through there, and I can neither confirm or deny whether those still work or not.
I'm pretty sure some of them are broken. I think that's part of it, is that they were like the official.
And that part is shitty, right? But, like, all these people that are complaining about the upgrade on PC, I'm like, you've had the upgrade, motherfucker. Like, 60 FPS. Like, I don't know. There is some hate to be had, and I'm not forgiving them for, like, all these people like Fallout London that have worked a long time on these things and are now just soiled. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people online are, like, super upset, and I'm like, this is for the console players. Like, legitimately, I think this is for the console players, because if I only had a console at this point and I had this update, I would be elated, because I probably wouldn't be modding, and I probably would want 60 frames a second. So I don't know. I feel like it's mostly good, but, like, if you skew it in any angle, like, I don't know. It's fun.
Also, there was some news today. I think Todd did an interview with Kind of Funny where he said basically that Fallout will always be in the United States, nowhere else. I think it's just that feel we're used to with the series. I don't know, but I think it's all, like, based in Americana essentially. So
right.
But you said Fallout London, obviously a different thing, but that's what it reminded
Well,
me
yeah,
of.
that was like an entire fan made.
No,
like,
I know, but
Okay.
that's just what reminded me of it. I
Right.
didn't put it in the notes or anything.
Got it.
All right, let's move on to number 2. If we are Fallout outed.
Yes.
Number 2, Ubisoft's free-to-play FPS XDefiant is gearing up for launch, with executive producer Mark Rubin hinting at an imminent release date. Despite some issues like desync problems and balancing inconsistencies in the recent server test, the team is working on improvements based on player feedback and data collected. Previous delays fueled rumors of XDefiant chasing trends like Call of Duty, but Rubin clarified that it aims to carve its own niche in the FPS genre. Brandon, I'm going to start with you again, just
No.
because we're the ones who checked it out a while.
Right.
No? Did you say no?
No, I'm just disagreeing with. Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead,
right.
Go ahead.
But I just wanted to bring it up. We've talked about XDefiant and what's going on with it for a while. Still no release date, and when it
Right.
does come out, I don't even think it's going to be full release. I think it's going to be some sort of early type access. That's not confirmed. That's my guess.
Right.
But what's going on?
This has had some stink on it, and the more that comes out about this, the more stinky it gets to me.
Yeah.
It being delayed, I think I said this maybe last week or the week before that. I surely thought this was going to be canceled. Like, I surely thought this was going to be canceled because what was it last year? They were like, we're delaying this indefinitely.
Yeah.
That's usually a fucking death sentence for games.
Yeah.
But I wasn't a part of the latest playtest. But to see desync issues and weapons balancing issues when you've had a lot of time, I know there's been a limited amount of play tests, but I don't know, man. No release date, and to say that you're trying to carve out your own niche when clearly, I mean, I played the game. There's not a lot of carving that I'm seeing that's much different. It really did feel like an old style Call of Duty game. So, I mean, maybe they can prove me wrong, but I want to be wrong. I am interested in these games. I love these games. I'm, self-titled, self-proclaimed. I'm good at these games. But yeah, I don't know. Something seems weird about this. And I'm not too hopeful for it.
Dave, is this
Especially because
just
of Doobie.
I was just going to say, Dave, is this Ubisoft stink, or is this something different?
I don't know. I think you guys are a little bit closer to the game than I am, but I have a YouTuber and Twitch streamer, exclusive Ace, who's he's a Call of Duty streamer, and but he spent quite a bit of time on this game, and just kind of hearing him talk about it, like, I thought this game was going to be launching in a pretty good state. It that's what it felt like anyway. I mean, they've taken their time. They've given gamers, a good taste of the game with multiple betas. They're launching free to play, so I mean, there's that. And they seem to be being pretty transparent with their audience about what they're working on, what they're fixing, what they're focusing on. So I don't know. It seems like they're doing all the right things. The only thing that's kind of turned me off from trying the game is what you said, Ben, a couple times, is like how quickly this game has gotten sweaty, which as a casual kind of competitive SBF player, that's a big turnoff for me. But I guess once this game actually does launch, whether it's in early access or like a full launch, whether it can survive or thrive is kind of going to be dependent on what it can actually carve out, and like what is going to be that incessant gamer crack grind with this game, because that's what keeps people coming back to Apex and COD and all those games. And I think the ones that fail just don't have that. So what's that going to be with XDefiant? I think now is a good opportunity for XDefiant to jump in and take away some of the market share from Call of Duty, just because Call of Duty seems to be kind of at a low point. It's still selling really well, but its fan base seems to be a little bit ticked off at the moment. Modern Warfare 3 was a bit of a letdown. Warzone 2.0, same thing. So I think there's potentially an opportunity here for XDefiant to jump in. But I mean, I think there's probably lessons to be learned from what was the other Ubisoft, Hyperscape, and that one was more kind of going after, I think, the Apex crowd. But
it was more of a battle royale.
Yeah, but there are parallels to be drawn there. So I don't know. But the thing is there's so many, like I've been saying this for a while, that there seems to be an opportune time for somebody to come in and take some of Call of Duty's glory. but nobody seems to do it. Like I think about games like Splitgate that was big for a while. The finals kind of came and went. Valorant, Overwatch 2, those are a little bit different, but still, like people seem to be just wanting something from this. So I think there's an opportunity there for XDefiant. I think launching it free to play, it gives you a huge leg up. So I mean, I hope Ubisoft doesn't squander this, but hearing you guys talk about it makes me think that maybe that's already happened. So.
Well, honestly, I want to cut in real quick again. We'll see. I wouldn't put Valorant in that same category, but the only thing I'm thinking is I feel like Dave's right. They do have like a very close window here. I'm not going to start talking up Call of Duty, but what I'm going to tell you is going to happen next year that's not happened ever, at least in the past fucking 20 years in Call of Duty, is that Treyarch's coming back, which is a fan favorite. They've made some of the better Call of Duty games in recent years. And I'm a Modern Warfare guy, so I'm an Infinity Ward guy, at least old Infinity Ward guy. But I do have a great appreciation for Treyarch games. Next year, we are getting a game that has been in development for 5 years by one studio. 5 years. Tell me the last time we got a Call of Duty game that's been in development for 5 years by one studio. So what I'm saying is that if they got some steam, they better start fucking chugging. Because I'm not saying this is going to fix everything. Because, in fact, I didn't even buy last year's Call of Duty. That wasn't even because of the side bet. Like, I'm not even mad, to be honest with you. I feel like my brother bought it, right? He's not even playing it. I swear to God, he played it for 2 months. And like, I was like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And that's what he did. And I'm like, I saved myself some money here, but I'm not short memorying this. I'm not like, simple manning this right now. But what I'm saying is that next year, 5 years, I'm hoping something different is going to happen with Call of Duty, especially with the downward trend in the series. We have Treyarch, big plays. We have 5 years, and we have just kind of a lost and messy situation here. So if XDefiant and Ubisoft are going to butt into this market, they better either have something really different and really good, or they better hurry the fuck up because, this is looking interesting, boys. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with everything you both said, pretty much.
On that note, Microsoft just announced that they have their next showcase coming up on June 9th.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after they're having a direct, but they redacted like what exactly it was. And did you guys see this?
Yeah, I don't understand why they did redacted. Obviously, it's Call of Duty.
Okay, so we're kind of assuming that is Call of Duty. So
that's a Black Ops thing, though.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like a Vietnam like Black Ops thing is like redacted. Right. It's like a part of the.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make is as soon as that is announced, and if there is that much hype around it, where this is a game that has been worked on for a considerably long time, XDefiant, you got to get people talking about your game now, because even just when that direct hits, then the countdown starts for November or October
for fucking beta, dude.
Exactly.
It starts in like a month or two when they release the. It's the.
You guys are right. They might be on the back foot already.
Yeah.
I did just look a couple days ago because I heard a streamer talking about it, and I just looked it up again now. The finals, surprisingly, because I don't hear anybody talking about it, current players as of this moment, 37,679, so almost 40,000, and it's on consoles too, so that's just Steam. 30-day average 120,000. I don't know if there was a new season or something, but
I think there was recently.
That's still, almost 40,000 on Steam alone, and the console base is bigger than that. So
is this also their first big release? So like that's pretty fucking successful, all things, aside.
Yeah. That doesn't take away from the fact that it's not near as big as it was obviously when it first came out. But
that happens to all games.
So these are split. There's like the finals playtest, and then there's the finals. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. I don't know. But either way, it's not doing as poorly as I expected that it was.
Yeah.
At this point. Moving on to number 3. Microsoft's third quarter financial results reveal impressive numbers with $61.9 billion in revenue and a net income, or profit, of $21.9 billion. This success comes despite challenges like a decline in Xbox hardware revenue and devices revenue. However, gaming revenue saw a boost of 51%, which was almost entirely attributed to the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Xbox content and services revenue, including Xbox Game Pass, surged by 62%. Yet, without Activision Blizzard, overall gaming revenue would have declined. Looking ahead, Microsoft anticipates further declines in Xbox hardware, which, did I write this here? It's down this year, like, I don't remember what it is. It's down this year significantly, and it was down last year significantly. So, year over 2 years ago, it's down like a lot for hardware, which we're a little further into the hardware generation, so somewhat you can expect it, but
Right.
nobody else is like that. Anyway, sorry. Where was I? Looking ahead, Microsoft anticipates further declines in Xbox hardware revenue next quarter, but expects growth in Xbox content and services revenue. Amidst these gaming fluctuations, Microsoft Office and cloud businesses continue to thrive. No surprise there, with significant revenue increases and growth in Microsoft 365 subscribers. And also Azure, their cloud services, their servers, all that kind of stuff are still growing. But gaming right now, Activision is the only reason it did not have a decline in sales. And Dave, I'm wondering, does it matter? We know that Microsoft is playing a different game with getting people into the ecosystem rather than buying their hardware. But is that enough long term?
I think it's probably enough considering the IP that they're touting now. Yeah, I don't know. It's the first story we talked about with Fallout shows that Microsoft wants to ensure that it has a strong lineup of games, whether that's, it's traditional first party games or stuff from Bethesda or Activision Blizzard, that it wants to have a more consistent calendar, because I think Sony is going to start to show that it doesn't have the strongest release calendar that it used to. So this might be an opportunity for Microsoft to leverage this investment and have banger after banger. I think you want like 3 big first party titles a year. I think that's kind of the goal. And I think when you have that, it makes people want to stay part of your gaming ecosystem. So in any case, I think Microsoft sharing these numbers is just them showing their shareholders that, look, the acquisition helped. Like, look, our numbers are better. And all they're really doing is adding Activision Blizzard sales on top of what they already have, which wasn't much. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to start comparing apples to apples next year when we are actually seeing Activision Blizzard plus Microsoft sales year over year compared to each other. But I was more interested in the hardware side of this because.
Yeah.
In the story, it says that they're anticipating continued decline in hardware revenue. So that to me kind of concedes that, obviously we're not going to be getting a mid-gen upgrade in the next quarter. But I wonder in the next fiscal year if they're planning anything. And even if they did, like, what would it be? Everything has been kind of muddled with the Series S. We've talked a long time about how developers are having to launch games that run really, really well on the Series X, but can also run on the Series S. So how do you even do a mid-gen upgrade for the Xbox? And if people are starting to lose interest in actually owning a Microsoft piece of hardware, like, is there any reason to actually do it? Because I can get everything on PC Game Pass now. There's a lot of games that are coming to PlayStation 5, and who knows if anything's coming to Nintendo. Like, I'm really interested to see how the hardware side of Microsoft's plans play out over the next year and a half, because also, as you pointed out, Ben, like, we're more than halfway through what we anticipate the console life cycle is going to be. So kind of running out of time for this to happen, but does it even need to happen for Microsoft at this point? I really don't know.
Brandon,
Yeah.
the fact that Activision is the only reason they were up this year is not that big of a surprise because there haven't been really that many big game releases, I suppose. So that's not that big of a deal. But does the hardware piece of things, should Microsoft be concerned about that? If they're not only not selling more consoles, but they're also, without Activision added in, not making more money.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Microsoft is in a position to really put themselves in more of a lifestyle choice type of situation than like a company that creates itself.
Yeah.
I think that, and truthfully, this is kind of just off the cuff, boys, but I genuinely see if we do get a mid-gen upgrade like you were talking about, Dave, it being somewhere in between the two flagships, and that just being the only one they do from this point forward. Like instead of having a more powerful one, we now have a box that will play everything pretty well, and it's going to be at a good price point. And this is going to be your lifestyle box. Like you could play all these games. I just think they're gonna continue to shy away from like really having this huge interest in like making the games theirs.
Do
Because
people want it? Sorry to interrupt, but do people want a box that's not better than the last one they just bought?
hardware sales are down. How many people don't have one at all?
Right. Well, I'm saying like hardware sales are down, and that's not good, obviously, but they're down 4 years into the life cycle. If you launch a new box, I assume that you want people to be then persuaded to get one or to upgrade the one they already have.
Sure. And to that, I'm saying most people have the S. It would be an upgrade from the S. And the people that want the more powerful box still have it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, you don't get the people to double dip. And there are people that do that. But I would say that is like not that's not the widest net they're reaching for. They're reaching for the new people. They're reaching for the people that want their budget console. And if you proposition it like, hey, this is better than the S, and maybe it's $50, $75 more expensive, and then there would be an incentive for people to upgrade, but there would also be an incentive for people to just get in because they went in on Game Pass and it never got in on the first place. So yeah, I don't know. It's I don't think Microsoft is in any sort of huge danger. I think they've positioned themselves in a really weird spot in the market. I think they need to just lean into this niche that they're into, and their niche is clearly Game Pass. And they just need to continue to hone that service because I feel like that's going to be their cash cow from this point forward, no matter what. Like I don't see Xbox coming back to the hardware glory days of the 360 at this point. It's been 2 generations. I think we're past that. And I think the entire company has just realized like this is what they're doing now. And I think Game Pass is a great service. And I'm not minimizing it, but I think that's really what they need to focus on. And the hardware is whatever. It's like, the rise of PC gaming even has like double, quadrupled. We talk all the time about all this money that's being spent on video games, whether it's media, these companies, or hardware. And it's like, I'm sure we could pull up a stat on PC gaming. It's like in the next 10 years, how much of the market will be taken away from Microsoft from PC gaming when you could just play everything on the PC too. So I don't know, man. I don't think we have anything huge to worry about. I'm sure they're very happy they bought Activision at this point. But yeah, they have a lot of good IP, and I think they're going to be less concerned. Side note, I want Forza Horizon 6. I don't know why the fuck it isn't happening yet. We used to get yearly releases, but I want it bad. We'll probably get it next year.
In addition to the speak about their games, about them selling more and more games, they're also putting stuff on PlayStation now.
Right.
And yeah, right now it's only 4 games. And I don't know what the sales numbers are like, but we know that Sea of Thieves had a 6-year-old game, by the way, had a very strong pre-order run on PlayStation. And I'll tell you this. People who bought the early access on PlayStation got like a special ship set and title and everything. And those aren't just the people who bought it. It came out today for, regular purchasers for $40. Those are the people who paid $80 for it to play it 5 days early. They got some special stuff. Over the last few days, the seas have been full of those sales and cosmetics. So there are, I don't know the numbers, obviously, but there have been a lot of people who have purchased Sea of Thieves on PlayStation. And if they can put out some more live service type games in general, but also put them out on PlayStation, I think people will buy them. Granted, yeah, people want to play Sea of Thieves because it's an older game now, and they've heard all their friends talk about it, and it's only $40, so it's worth a shot, whatever. But I can't imagine that the result would be worse if it were a new game, a newer game. Well, so that's interesting.
Even like Starfield, like I didn't like the game, but do I think that it would probably sell fairly well?
Yeah.
Maybe not insanely on Xbox, as many sales as Xbox got, but do I think they'd recoup some costs? Absolutely.
I think it might sell better than it did on Xbox because we know that it sold well on PC, but I don't think they've really said how well it sold on PC. I mean, on Steam specifically.
Right.
Somebody, Benji earlier said something. Why would people on a budget double dip? He's referring to Series S owners. I I think I might double dip. Maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't right now, but the scenario I'm in is I didn't really need a Series X, so I bought a Series S for like, I don't know, $250, $300, whatever it was, and I just wanted to play Game Pass on it. But over time, I've started to regret that I have old 360 and Xbox One discs that I have no way to play unless I hook up my old consoles because it's a digital machine, the Series S. And I'm like, well, I would have liked to play these games, but I don't really want to spend the extra $250 on a Series X. So I'm somebody who might, if you put something in that midway point, I might do it. Now, granted, I'm not the person.
Right.
I mean, I am on a budget, but it's not like I'm not like I didn't buy the $300 one because I couldn't afford the $500 one. I bought it because I didn't think I wanted the $500 one. Now that I don't have a disc drive, I'm like, maybe I would have.
No, like the budget console, people double dipping. It's not perfect logic, but I feel like it would make the most sense for them to kind of suck in new people to give something new. But
Dave
Oh,
Braddock. Oh, sorry.
no, I was gonna say Benji said in chat that Playground was working on Fable. Yeah, I knew that. I'm just like hopeful. Like bless them. I'm not a Fable fan, but I don't really care about anything but Forza Horizon 6. Like Microsoft could never put out anything again, and they can only put out Forza, and I'd be happy at this
Have
point.
you played Fable?
Of all their big franchises, I think that's the one that doesn't have any shit on it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fable?
No.
No.
Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
Fable
Because
has shit on
even
it.
Motorsport came out last year to a kind of a whimper, man. I played it and I didn't enjoy it so much. And honestly, like I'm sure they're still supporting it, but I don't see people talking about it.
No.
Brendan, have you played Fable?
I've not. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I have no
Okay.
experience with the
I
series.
think you would like Fable.
I actually
would like it.
I've heard that a bunch of times, actually.
Knowing your preferences. Radic asks in chat, does Halo 1 through 5, so essentially what? Maybe Master Chief Collection plus 5? Or is 5 in Master Chief Collection? No, it's separate. Does it come to PS5 by the end of 2025? I don't know. Part of me says, yeah, absolutely. It makes perfect sense. And then part of me says, would they give up Master Chief to the evil blue box? I don't think evil blue box, and they wouldn't.
See
but
that.
I can't see them giving away their primo, their main IP. Honestly, it's the IP that launched the console. I don't know,
dude. Alex Dies Twice. Motorsport was it really? It's still cooking. He said he said Forza was top 10 seller in UK last month.
That's hard to believe, but I believe it because there hasn't been a lot.
Yeah, well, God bless him, but
yeah,
I didn't like it. I'm a Horizon man myself, but
yeah. All right, let's talk about something else that's equally as exciting. Media Molecule. Media Molecule, known for Dreams and Little Big Planet, is embarking on a new IP, as hinted by a recent Sony job listing. Despite limited details, it's clear that the studio is moving beyond its established franchises. Good. Fans speculate the new game will align with Media Molecule's legacy of creative and whimsical titles. This announcement follows a period of uncertainty for the studio, which faced layoffs at the end of Dreams support. And the end of Dream support. Nonetheless, Sony's decision to keep Media Molecule signals confidence in its vision. While specifics remain elusive, the studio's history suggests that the upcoming title will be a PlayStation exclusive. I would imagine, if not, they'll put it on PC as well. But Dave, I wanted to ask you, Media Molecule, yeah, we know they're always going to have that little bit of creative bent, but with Little Big Planet and with Dreams, it was very much driven by, lived and died by, player created content. Do you think that's a smart move for the next thing?
No, and actually I was kind of going to lead off with, I think based on what we discussed last week, we can probably assume that the next game that Media Molecule comes out with probably isn't going to be built around user generated content. First of all, I just want to also say that like this is great to hear, because I think everybody was a little bit concerned about the future of Media Molecule, but hearing that they are in fact working on another game is great. And the fact that it or the idea that it may not come with user generated content as a cornerstone is okay, because I think the the kind of light and endearing nature that they've built into all of their games is really what set them apart and got them so popular. And I think the idea that like their games have to have user generated content is I don't know. I suspect that the majority of people who enjoy their games aren't making levels or just kind of dabbling. So I think you can really enjoy their games without making levels, and that's what I always did. I mean, I've never been much of a base building sort of creating kind of person. I just kind of enjoy what the base game has and maybe check out some of the stuff that other people put in the game. But there's another game from Media Molecule that I love, which was Tearaway. And one of
Yeah.
the reasons why I love Tearaway so much is because it did things with my Vita that
Mhm.
other games just didn't do. And we've seen Media Molecule do this in the past where, there are, little interesting things that this dual sense controller can do, and since Astro's Playroom no one's really kind of played around with. So if there's one thing that I would love to see Media Molecule do, it's to kind of like leverage the technology in this controller, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on in here that I don't think developers are really kind of using. So in any case, I'm happy to see that Media Molecule lives on, and I would again, I'd love to see them do something innovative with the DualSense controller. So that's what I'm hoping for out of this.
I love Tearaway too. I agree with that. I forgot about that. It's not. It's so different from their other games that I forget that they made it. Honestly, Brandon, what do you think about Media Molecule's future? What kind of game should they work on? Obviously, they've already decided what kind of game they're working on, but
Right.
if you could pick,
No, yeah. And I've, Little Big Planet 1 and 2, obviously beloved games in my household. Once the series went from their hands, I feel like it never was quite the same.
yeah,
Although I mostly agree with what Dave says, the user generated levels aren't like a must. I feel like that really was a staple of the series for a long time. I agree that I think that most people didn't make levels if you look at the whole of the series, but the people that did kind of made the content great. So even though I don't think it's necessary, I feel like it was a pillar of the series, at least for the first couple games. I don't think it's necessary, but I feel like it would detract from it a little bit. But I also, that goes hand in hand with what we talked about last week and how those sort of things never stay forever. So maybe we're better off not having it in the long run, even though we get a little bit now. Um, I was also worried about Media Molecule. I genuinely thought any day now, any month this year, we were going to see the nail in the coffin with all of the closures we're getting. But
yeah,
glad to see they're still working. A very talented studio. Who knows who's even left from the early days? It's probably a skeleton crew, if anybody,
yeah.
at this point. But um, in my heart, I'd like to think that we still have that same whimsical, talented studio behind all of this. So we'll see. I wasn't into Dreams at all, like at all. I don't even know if I played it. But
Yeah.
that game just seemed like a hodgepodge. So
Well, I
I'd
think
love
it
for
was
them.
last.
Go ahead.
I think it was last year, Brandon, that they had some layoffs there, and I want to say their headcount was under 40, which for a first party, AAA ish studio is not a lot, obviously. And I'm sure some of those have dwindled, and now they're hiring, or at least looking to hire some more. So hopefully they can get something rolling and not just get turned into a support studio or rolled into another studio. But if they don't put out something compelling, like the Sony that we have now is not the Sony that was around when Dreams was greenlit. And yes, it could have been one of those living game type things,
Right.
but it wasn't because
Right.
the concept was too. It's too much to do on a controller, in my opinion. You put that game on PC, you get some crazy stuff coming out of there.
No, I
But
agree.
they never did that, and now they're all into PC, but Dream still isn't there, and it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Radek brought up a point I was thinking and was going to mention. He said, for user generated content in 2024, you're competing with Roblox and Fortnite, and that's pretty tough. And he's right, because my youngest is all the time telling me like, "Oh, can I play this game on your Switch? It's you do this and you do that and you do that." And I'm like, "I've never heard of it. What's it called?" And he's like, "Oh, it's in Fortnite." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So like my kids are now just like they're not even playing Fortnite. They're booting up Fortnite and playing a game inside of it. The Roblox bug hasn't hit them yet, apparently, probably because they've never played it. But and that's and I'll look at the player counts on them when I'm like downloading when I'm doing the update or making or just checking it for content or whatever for the kids, and I'm like, wow, there's 300,000 people playing this thing that some random guy created. Probably a whole team of random guys, but you know what I mean. Like it's
Right.
not Epic making it. So to compete with that kind of stuff on a free game that you already have access to, that's tough to do user generated content. And if they try to live and die by it, or if they live by it, they're going to die by it if the content's not there. And frankly, you just don't have the player base built in yet. So I really hope they do something more like Tearaway, Dave, where it's light and whimsical but fun and stresses the features of the controller and stresses the features of the console and still has good gameplay and mechanics and hopefully story too. But we'll see, because unless they got like they had to have, I hope they got a wake up call with Dreams, because the concept was fine. It just the execution was not there. And they gotta have the execution, especially in the cutthroat environment we're in now. I don't care if Sony owns them; they'll cut them faster than Microsoft would, honestly, if they're not making numbers. So it is what it is, as some would say. Speaking of kids these days, number 5, a recent survey shedding light on the gaming habits of Japanese Gen Z individuals has sparked discussions on social media, particularly regarding their console preferences. According to a report, a majority of Gen Z gamers in Japan favor handhelds and PCs over consoles like the PS5 and Xbox. The top choices include mobile devices, the Nintendo Switch, and PCs, Steam Decks, indicating a preference for portability and versatility. Even among self-identified hardcore gamers, smartphones, the Switch, and PC remain at the top picks. Financial constraints with the high cost of consoles and games likely contribute to this trend. Gen Z gamers reportedly spend an average of 10,000 yen annually on games, emphasizing the appeal of free-to-play, FPS, and affordable indie titles. Guys, I put this in there, and obviously this specific study was very hyper-focused on Japanese individuals, but I think this might be one of the first times in history where the current generation, the generation of focus for consoles right now, is going to be more synchronized. Because yes, Japan has more restraints on certain things. They have smaller houses on average. They have a different lifestyle where most of them are on a train, whereas many people in the West are not. So there are a lot of differences, but I think that it speaks more to the fact that the internet exists and everybody has similar preferences. I see a lot of people now who are like, "Oh, I play all these games and I play them all on my tablet or on my phone," and they're playing the same games I might be playing, but they're not playing them in the same place or the same way. And so I just want to know: do you guys think that this is going to be a trend? We've seen it a little bit, but more of a trend in North America / Western countries. Brandon, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I agree. This is kind of what I was speaking on earlier. I feel like there's something more notable here with the mobile aspect. I do agree that the rise of PC gaming is going to continue to grow, and I think it will greatly outpace consoles here in the next 10 years. But something that's notable that none of us are really into is that a lot of these kids grew up with an iPad or a phone in their hand. So it's like literally and I'm not saying that in like a condescending way. Like certainly there is negative connotation there sometimes for some people, depending on
Sure.
how you raise your kids. But what I'm saying is either way, they are around this shit.
Right.
So it's like it translates well and it makes sense to just continue that trend on because it is convenient. And you know, we want to sit on our couch and do it because that's what we grew up in doing. But when it's not like that, and you know, it's just different. I think you guys get what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it translates well when you grow up with this sort of thing to just continue that trend. And I know this is Japanese, but I wouldn't be surprised if even if we don't have the stats that this is pretty spot on to the West as well.
Dave, how do you feel about Fortnite on phones? No, I'm just kidding. Just the trend in general.
Um, I mean, it is what it is. We're kind of living in a world of instant gratification, and I think that 90 seconds that it takes for you to turn on your controller and select a game and boot up to when you're actually controlling a character is too much for a lot of people. And for it's too much for me sometimes, because especially when you throw in updates and stuff like that. So I know it sounds demeaning, but I think even just that is a turnoff for this generation of gamers, which is fine because you can get a as near as makes no difference experience on your phone that you're going to get on your PlayStation 5 for a lot cheaper. So I mean, why not? You bring up a good point about the difference in lifestyle when it comes to transit and just kind of being away from home for a lot longer in the different countries. And I think that's really important to point out because I think Japan has always been a mobile first market. And now that we have so much quality gaming on mobile, I think it's just an opportunity for this to explode. Um, when I was reading this article, I was, however, quite surprised to hear about the PC boom because, again, I always thought of that market as more mobile first. So to think that people are investing money in building PCs, because as popular as PCs are, they haven't got any cheaper. In fact, they've gotten a lot more expensive. So to see that is quite surprising. But yeah, I think the mobile trend is getting bigger and bigger, and I don't really I think this kind of plays into the fact that, you know, is PlayStation 6 gonna be that much more powerful than PlayStation 5, or does it need to be? Because, you know, we're all favoring much more simpler experiences that can be experienced on the go. So yeah, I think this is just gonna keep going in this direction, and whether we like it or not, our memories of sitting in front of a TV with a wired controller are further and further away because that's not what gaming is going to look like in the next 15 years or so. That's for sure.
I think it was Dustin. I think I heard Dustin say this, and if I didn't, I'm putting words in his mouth anyway. I think he said that when he was in Japan, he'd go into these game stores, and they would have like for new games and stuff, they'd have like a PlayStation section, then they'd have a Nintendo section, and then they'd have like over in the corner a little kiosk with like an Xbox gift card or something, and then they have a Steam Deck section just as big as the PlayStation or Nintendo section, and that was really interesting to me to think about. Yeah, there's portability there, and if PC is a rising market in Japan, as it is in most places, that people are going to want to take those experiences on the go or entirely have them on the go, and those are still going to count as PC sales, and the games are going to be on Steam. They're just the same kind of purchase. So that is definitely a big market in Japan as well. So we'll see what happens with the kids these days, I suppose.
Their
I
avocado toast and their matcha lattes.
That's
And all
no
that.
avocado. No, Dave,
Dude, that
avocado
was us.
toast. That's us. That's our generation, dude.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's our generation.
Yeah.
Not maybe the three of us, but it's our generation for sure.
It's more like bubble tea and ketamine. or I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Tide
I don't know
Pods
what
and depression.
I don't know what kids do. I'm sorry.
Ketamine. Yep. Guys, it's that time of the show where we talk about what we've been playing. I'm gonna go ahead and go first because my list is the least interesting in my opinion, and that's really all that matters since, well, I get to decide who goes first. Um, I've been continuing to play Rebirth. I'm in chapter 13 now, so nearly the end. Still doing everything as I go and having fun with it still. I've been playing. I played a little bit more of Hades 2, the playtest after the show last week. It's set up for you to be able to do 5 completed runs of like the first section. You have to beat this one boss 5 times, and then after that, you really can't play anymore. And they kind of even tell you like after you beat this boss 5 times, this save will be considered complete. And so then if you want to play more, you got to start another save. I didn't. I just went ahead and moved on, but really solid. It's very satisfying. If you've played Hades, you know how good that game was, and this game is just as good, if not better, just because of some of the different systems and different things they've added in. And the story seems to be really intriguing as well, even though I don't really know that that's why most people loved Hades. The story is great. And then Sea of Thieves. I've been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves this last week and doing a good bit of streaming along with it. And like I mentioned earlier, the PlayStation 5 gamers started coming in last Thursday, and today there's plenty more going to pour in, and over the next week, of course. So That's really live. Not that the seas were feeling dead; they're actually feeling more alive than ever. But it's really livened them up even more. The problem for people like me is that I have to take pity too often on them, and not steal their stuff. Give it a week or two. Give it a week or two, and I'll be back. I'll be back there stealing their booties. Don't worry.
Ooh.
But I'm really interested to see where this game goes. Today they just dropped season 12, dropped a new bunch of new updates. I haven't got to play yet. Um, I'll be playing a little bit later tonight. But I'm interested because they did something they haven't done in 6 years, which is they introduced new weapons, and not just new weapons, but two new weapons, throwing knives and a double-barreled pistol. And so I've watched some streams and stuff and seen how people are reacting to them, but it definitely is shaking up the meta a little bit. There's a new way. There's a new way to traverse on the harpoon, new zip lines, all that kind of stuff. So like 6 years into an established game, changing up the meta that much is pretty cool in my opinion. And so I'll be looking forward to seeing how it goes. But Dave, I'm going to save you for last. Brandon, because I really want to hear about one of Dave's games. But Brandon, let's go ahead and do what have you been playing?
Yeah, man, I've been playing a lot of Counter-Strike 2. I'm about 20 hours in now, which is a literal dot in the spec of Counter-Strike 2. I've been looking up a lot about this game, and there's people that are like, yeah, I felt like I was like getting really proficient after about 1,000 hours. And I'm like, say again? I don't know that I played any singular game for 1,000 hours, and people were like, yeah, 4K hours in.
You're probably close to 1,000 hours in Elden Ring.
Probably not.
Because one of your saves alone has like 300 hours, and you've got like 20 saves.
That's like all of my PlayStation saves are like 300 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I bought Prime. Counter-Strike does this thing where like they don't have a battle pass, right? But you upgrade once for $15 and you get this Prime status, which gives you like weekly drops. It can either be a case, which you then have to pay money for to get a key, but you can also get like you could either choose a case or you could choose like a weapon skin or whatever. So it's really cool. I get weekly drops. My shit just restarted today. It's been a lot of fun. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly difficult, and nearly none of my Call of Duty experience transfers over. Nearly. I don't want to say none of it, but a lot of it does not, because it does not play like it at all. But it's been a lot of fun. And what else, man? Stellar Blade, boys.
Mm-hmm.
It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. I don't know how many hours I am in, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this game quite a bit. Visually, it's beautiful, and I'm not talking about the attractive woman on my screen. This game just looks really pretty at all times. The art direction, the art style, the characters, they're all very realized and like super interesting. I'm even quite interested in the story at this point. That's kind of taken a back seat because I'm not like a story gamer. I'm a gameplay gamer through and through. Like if anybody knows me, they know that's the case. But I'm even slightly intrigued by the story at this point now too. So it's been a ton of fun. I will say, going into it, I was a tiny bit worried. I did not mention this in the podcast, but going into the demo, or when I played the demo, I did not beat it. I was almost to the end. I just had to go to the top of the parking garage, and I would have beaten it. So I was like there. I maybe could have played for 15 more minutes, and I would have been there. But I was like, I'm fucking awful at this game. Like I'm so bad at this game. I just came off the heels of playing like another 60 hours on Elden Ring. I'm like, how am I this bad at this game? It doesn't translate exactly, but I'm saying like, if I could play that, I could play this, right? And I will say that after getting used to it, I've got a lot more comfortable. So it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, and everything about it's great. I was actually looking into the platinum a little bit as well. It seems a little bit more difficult than maybe I'm going to be interested in, but who knows? Maybe it'll carry me through. Usually my platinum games, it's not something that like I feel like I have to work towards. I'm usually 90% of the way there, and then I'm just a little bit more. So,
Brandon, in chat, why you should play asks, when did 2B get out to Counter-Strike to make you play it?
Oh, dude, 2B. We have a divisive relationship, just like a
Yeah.
lot of the women that have been in my life.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, what? Alex says, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And then I was wondering what got Brandon into Counter-Strike. My brother plays a lot of Counter-Strike, and I've always been interested in these games. I tried to play Valorant, but there was some whack-ass anti-cheat that I had to go and like I would have to go into my BIOS or some weird shit with my computer. You know, I've been having all these computer issues, and I don't really understand a lot of it, but I couldn't get it working, and so I gave up. And now I'm playing Counter-Strike, and it's been
Valorant's fun, but it is tough and it is sweaty.
yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
if you do one little thing wrong, even in casuals, the people playing just tear you apart.
dude,
Kind of like Rocket League, honestly.
Counter-Strike is the exact same way.
Yeah.
But it's been a boatload of fun. And before we get into what Dave's been paying, I want to bounce something off y'all for these yearly resolutions. And you tell me if this is acceptable real quick. I want to divert for 2 seconds. I apologize, Dave. Is this acceptable? Are you good with
Acceptable
me
for you to-
diverting for 2 seconds, Dave?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
The floor is yours, sir.
All right.
No.
If I complete one of
I
my
already said no.
punishments instead of one of my challenges, is that acceptable? Like if I forego failing one of my challenges and just complete one of my punishments, would that be sufficient, or do I have to wait to the end of the year?
Is
to
it
actually
playing
fail it?
Scorn on shrooms?
No, dude. I actually playing I can't believe I'm saying this. Playing Stellar Blade has made me think about playing Nier again. And I'm considering, I don't know for sure, but I'm considering playing Nier again. Just a little bit.
What are your resolutions again?
I
Wait,
just have
hold
to beat
on.
Red Dead. That's all I have left is to beat Red Dead. And
No, I'm gonna flat out say no.
Yeah, I
That's
think
a big one.
You have to wait till the year's over. You have to actually fail. You can't take a early out like Dave did last year. I think I'm making a new rule this year.
But
Yes.
that's such a big one that he's copping out on. Like 4 months into the year, no.
Yeah.
If I get a say in this, I'd say no.
Well, I think it's
having-
a vote, Dave. It's a vote
Oh.
between you and I.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm going to fail it. I'm just thinking about it because I'm thinking about playing Nier, and I'm saying, would it be an acceptable compromise? So you're saying, even if I want to play Nier right now, if it wouldn't make sense for me because I may also have to play it again next year if I fail.
Yes, if you play Nier right now, it doesn't count for your punishment. Your
Okay, I'm
punishment doesn't take
I'm
place until next year.
I'm just making sure. All right. That's
Because the reason, just to get into the nitty gritty here, the reason we kind of let Dave do his is because he was incapable of doing his Gran Turismo challenge. He couldn't do it. He admitted he was a failure because he's from Toronto, and I might have made part of that up, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't finish it.
fair. Why'd he catch a stray?
I don't know why Toronto get caught up in this again. Dave, it was almost the end of the year. He had admitted defeat already. You still have 8 months.
The problem
To
is,
play
I
Red
don't
Dead.
want. The problem is I don't want to really
Now, I shouldn't tell you this, but the solution to this is,
play GTA.
well, you could play GTA, but the solution to this is you just don't do it, and then next year you have to play Nier. But if you play Nier now, you got to play it again next year. That's just
Fuck.
that's the rules.
All right, that's fair. I'm still planning on succeeding, but I'm saying how I've felt in the first 4 months after having played in January. I just know myself well enough. I gotta. I'll figure it out.
Why you should play
Figure
in
out
chat
this.
says it's like wanting to start serving your sentence before the trial's over. And I understand he's technically correct, but there is such a thing as time served in the legal department, and
But
we do
he's
not have that
talking
here.
He's talking about sharing a
Dude.
jail cell with 2B, so this is a bit
Dude.
different.
Time served. If I don't get to ending E, which is the punishment, as long as I don't get to ending E,
No,
like
no,
if I start to
No.
play a little bit of it and then I fail, then I'll
No, no,
only
no.
have to play the rest of it next year.
Your resolution punishment is to start the game from the beginning and play through the end. Play through
Hey,
E.
actually, that's not what it says here. All it says here is play Nier through E.
Yeah, play Nier from the start. You already have a save. You can't start where you have your save.
That's not what it says.
But I guarantee that's the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. Speaking of Nier,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead, Dave.
I diverted way too much. I apologize.
That's all
Dave.
right.
No problem.
The answer, by the way, is definitively no.
Whatever. Fuck
Brandon.
you.
I'll just quickly start with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I finished that this week, and I knew going into this game that as far as Borderlands games go, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands has kind of a weaker end game, and I played a little bit of the end game co-op, and I was pretty disappointed. I understand the draw of it, but it's really, there are these random encounters throughout the game in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands where you kind of just spawn into a small arena and you fight a wave of enemies, and that's the end of the encounter. And they get old pretty quick, and the end game is all kind of built around these random encounters. Obviously, they throw in some things to make it a little bit different, such as you can, mess with the difficulty level to get better rewards, or you can add in, different modifiers. So there's ways to keep them interesting. And it was funny, the friend of mine that I was playing with, like, he loved it, but I was just like, I'm officially done with this game. But that's okay, because I finished the campaign, and I think overall I had a really good time with it. So yeah, that's Tiny Tina's in the book. And thanks to, I don't know who it was, I think it was Edwin Castillo at the end of the show last week, who reminded me or pointed out that Nier had gone on sale again. So obviously one of my resolutions for myself was to play Nier Automata, Potato Patata, and it's on sale again. So I'm playing it. This is a game that you guys have talked about very highly for a long time. Both, yourself, Ben, and Dustin has, and everybody in the Discord. And there's a lot of YouTubers and streamers. Like, I'm always hearing about this game coming up in sort of pop culture as just something you have to play. So I'm finally playing it. And I said this in Discord, but my God, the opening of this game is like, I needed a cigarette after that, because that was just like insane. And I did it in one run. Like, I was aware of this going in, that the beginning was like 45 minutes, no saves, just like constant adrenaline. And yeah, what a way to open a game. It was crazy. I've got about 5 hours in the game, and I'll kind of start with what I'm not liking, and that is the inconsistency with both the tempo and kind of the art design of this game. The opening of the game is what it was, and then you land in sort of the ruined city or whatever it's called, and it's like, I realize this game is about 6 years old now, 7 years old, but like, it's so drab and like gray and dreary, and I get that's kind of like what the narrative wants it to be, but it's just, everything's so flat. There's invisible walls everywhere, and it's just kind of like I just came off the high of the intro, and then I'm in this really boring place that's hard to navigate and all that stuff. And then I stumble upon the amusement park, and that sequence is one of the most incredible fucking things I've done in recent memory in a video game. Right up from the second you see the fireworks to the boss you face is unreal. So there's just kind of some inconsistencies with like both tempo and the look and the feel of the game. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit dated in some ways, but I think overall I'm about 5 hours in, and I'm having a really good time. I'm really getting into the story. There was that scene where all those robots were like intimidating humans, and like a bunch of them were fucking, or like, I was like, okay, so Yoko Taro, this is just if like Hideo Kojima made a hack and slash game. It's so like Japanese in that way, and odd, but so good. And yeah, I mean, I played a little bit more today, and I'm just having fun kind of going around talking to the characters, and something really interesting just happens, and I'm thinking it's one of those games that I'm thinking about when I'm not playing it. So
Nice.
I also feel like this is the kind of game where I'm going to get to the end, and I'm going to be like, there's so much I didn't do in terms of like side content, or like upgrading weapons, or trying different weapons. And it might be one of those things where I maybe want to go back and try some different things, but I don't want to say it's overwhelming, but there clearly is a lot more than I anticipated. So but I want to bring up an old quote from our friend Brandon Duncan here, which was Brandon, and I quote, you said, the combat in Nier is ass. What the fuck? I was expecting like clunky, slow combat, and I get into the game, and like it's unreal. Like, it's it's so fast and frantic, and like it's really cool, and there's different combos you can try, and like just
I
having
would-
that little range pod, like it just adds so many different layers of complexity to what you can and can't do. So I was really, basically what I'm saying is I was really, you know, I was taken aback by that comment now that I've played the game.
It looks beautiful. It just doesn't play that way.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah.
I just gotta dismiss everything Brandon says about this game because he's just
I know.
wrong.
I literally I'm playing the Radic of this situation, and I always
Yeah.
have been with this game.
I
I just like making the boys mad.
Yeah, I legitimately do love the gameplay and the combat, but I can understand to some extent why Brandon doesn't like it because probably about 80% of the reason I like this game is because of the story and knowing what Brandon just said a few minutes ago that he's more about gameplay first. I can understand it, but the gameplay is also fantastic, so that's the reason I don't fully understand it. But Dave, I just want you to know I zoned out during the part where you started out with everything you didn't like because it doesn't count. And the other thing is, you said that sometimes it's like dreary and depressing. That is yes. You're not supposed to be having fun playing this game. You're supposed to feel depressed and not understand how the world works anymore once you get to the end of it. So get ready for that. Hopefully, you don't have any like major depressive cycles that kick in about 30 hours of gameplay from now.
A couple of other things I forgot to mention, but I really want to point out. The music is
It's the best part.
so good. I want a
It's the best
soundtrack
part.
of this because I
The
just kind of
best
want to
part.
listen to it, and I want to go to a coffee shop and listen to it without speakers, so everybody knows I'm a weeb now. So yeah, it's good. Even like the slow, like just kind of running around the world when nothing crazy is going on, and I think in the like the settler camp in the early game, like the music that plays in that little camp is like I got that stuck in my head for quite a while after playing.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I love about this is I think about like screenshots, and usually like if you show me a game and you show me like 3 screenshots from a game, I can usually tell like, okay, this is a first person shooter or this is like a strategy game, or this is like a third person action game. The thing I'm loving about this game is like you could show me 3 different screenshots from Nier and you wouldn't, is this a shmup? Is this a third person action game? Is this a puzzle game? Like
It's because it is all of those things.
2D side scrolling. Like this is something I did not know about this game, is how fast it keeps, as gamers, it constantly keeps you guessing as what's coming next. And sometimes it's like, again, switching from like hack and slash combat to a shoot 'em up segment, and then sometimes it's just as simple as like rotating the camera to the side just to give you kind of a cinematic view of like this like forest canopy treehouse setup that's kind of happening in it. I like that because it got, as even though it's a bit slow at times, it still kind of keeps you guessing as to what comes next. So yeah, overall I'm loving it. I'm really glad I finally played this game. Now remember, last year I also dipped my toes into a game that I hadn't played before, which was Persona, and I did not enjoy that. So I'm glad I'm doing this again and I'm having a different result, because this
You're
is,
the right kind of weeb. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
This is the right kind of weave.
Dude, next
You
is
will
Armored
survive
Core.
the cleansing. Okay.
So I'm not going to do Danganronpa next. Just
Danganronpa.
Dude,
Yeah.
Jang, hell
Danganronpa and Kenneth Lander.
yeah. And Kenneth Lammer.
A few important things were said in the chat, but the one I want to highlight most specifically is Why You Should Play says, please do not publicly thank Edwin. So that your notice has been served, Dave.
Okay.
All right. Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Dave. I really do think it is. I think you could make an argument that it's not one of the greatest games of all time, but I definitely think it's one of my favorite games of all time, and it's one of the best games on the PS4 that came out natively on the PS4 by far.
I do want to know if after I finish this game, I'm in love. Is Replicant going to be a letdown, in your opinion?
If you are in love with Automata, then you should play Replicant. I do not think it is as good, but I think it is good, and I think it is. I would give yourself some time in between. If you like Automata, then you will like Replicant, but it is not the same. But it shines so much. Like story-wise, it shines so much light on it. You get more of similar combat. It's a totally, it will mess with your brain, for sure. So I think that the right decision is to play in the order you're playing. And if you decide you want more, then go for Automata. But it's definitely not a necessity, in my opinion. Unless you're a lore hound, then it is.
Cool. Good to know.
Yeah. All right, boys. That's it. That's what we've been playing.
Short show.
That's short show. Yeah, that's everything we got. Don't forget, everybody, you can support us on patreon.com/handsomephantom for as little as $1 a month for ad-free early access to the show. Thank you all for joining us here live Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. on YouTube. We appreciate that as well. And jump into the Discord. Hang out with us. handsomephantom.com/Discord will get you there. And you can hang out with us all night long. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later. Bye. All right. Show title.
The right kind of weeb.
The right kind of weeb. There you go. There you have it.
Yeah, sorry, Brandon, but I was really looking forward to you playing Red Dead Redemption, so I feel strongly about this.
Yeah, no, you're okay. I also I could have a change of heart, but right now, the run that I've been on, just thinking about it in my mind right now, that is the last thing I would want to play right now. There's something. These games are so fucking slow, man. Especially at the beginning, and they're so beautiful for that reason. But right now, my mind is not working like that. We're not
Brandon
trying
can't
to be
play
immersed.
a slow game. He's too busy playing a game where it takes you 40 years to swing a sword.
Bro, listen. Just say you're bad at the game, bro.
I like.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But it's a slow game.
I'd rather, yeah. And that's the most fucked up part about it all.
There you go. Why you should play? It's basically Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Dude, I would love if it was Elden Ring. I'd probably play it twice.
But you might not feel that way, Brandon, in August or something. So
maybe not. I just it was on my mind, and so I had to talk to the boys about it.
But hey, at least because you've had this change of heart, if you really get to the end of year and you don't find the drive to play Red Dead, then you get to play Nier. So
that's right.
True. Do I get to pick my punishment? I was also thinking that, or do. So if I've already completed all of the other ones, so I'm only going to get one punishment.
We didn't really discuss that.
Well, I guess I could technically fail the streaming one, but I'm on pace to.
True. Yeah. We each have 2 punishments. Each of us came up with 1 punishment for the other, which means technically if someone failed all 3, which I don't think anyone's going to do that at this point, then you would be -1 punishment. But right now we don't really have a method. We should probably establish
to randomize them. We have to number them 1, 2, 3 and put them in a.
But there's only 2 each.
Okay, the third one is you get both.
Oh wow, you might have just cursed yourself. Because I think you're the only one potentially going to fail 2 of them. You have the potential to fail 2 of them.
I have the potential to fail 2. I'm not failing 2, motherfucker. Unless I die, then I'm not doing any of them.
Yeah, as Poot points out, he said Ben's punishments are so brutal. Let's not forget,
dude, his are great.
Both of my punishments deal with Life is Strange. Both of them.
Isn't it a strange life?
So there's no way I'm failing them. No way.
Are you strong enough?
I am strong enough. I really do think I'm strong enough.
Because I'm strong enough.
That's funny. You thought of that. I thought of really don't think I'm strong enough. No. Do you believe in that? Okay. Yeah, a little bit of share mixed up in here. The moral of the story is never regularly talk about what you actively dislike. It's just fuel for others. Yeah, but also it's creating a caricature of yourself, which is what we like to do.
Yeah, because it's funny. Because, I'm going to play Nier at some point in the next 5 years, and then I'm going to have to eat all my words. I just know that factually. But it is fun to hate on it.
She
'cause it makes
does like
people mad.
she does a really cool move.
Where her ass
If
is
you
up.
jump in the air and then you do a strong attack, she like hits the ground and then she does like the splits.
Yeah.
It's so subtle in Nier. I didn't want to talk about that smut during the show,
Subtle.
but it's
I mean,
it's
the show will still be living on YouTube right now.
Oh,
Just so you
that's
know.
true.
Just so you
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
but yeah, it's the smut is so much more subtle. Like you kind of have to just be looking at the right time, and you're like, damn.
Yeah, you could blow the skirt off. I'll tell you later.
Dave, I don't think you have. I was looking at your trophies the other night because I wanted to see how far you were. I don't think you've gotten the look up the dress trophy yet.
Oh, okay. Not for lack of trying.
Do it.
I mean, no, I don't.
Coward.
know.
Coward.
So you unlock a trophy for painting the camera a certain way.
Correct.
I don't think I've ever used my right stick so much than I have since I've been playing Nier.
I bet you haven't, Dave.
I think
I
you have
bet
to do it. I think the best way to maybe do it is when you're walking up a ladder, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I actually don't think I popped that one until I was like, okay, I'm going to get the platinum. Let me look at the trophies.
Right.
I legitimately don't think I did.
Right. Mhm.
Now, in Replicant, I definitely did, and because I thought this is going to be a trophy, and I don't remember if it actually was a trophy or not, but I tried it either way.
It's a trophy in our hearts.
It's a trophy in our hearts.
Definitely our hearts.
Dave, there is a point in Nier Automata
Ending J.
where you can buy trophies. It was very controversial, but you have to have a lot of currency to be able to do it. So I don't know that you care about the platinum or not, but if you do, you can look up what those are, and there is a point where you can buy them.
Okay.
Not all of them.
I alluded to this in the show, but I genuinely should I stick with my starting sword and upgrade it, or should I try? Because I'm looking at these other weapons that you can buy, and they look like the fucking Buster sword and stuff, and I'm wondering like, will that should I stick with what I have, or should I experiment?
I definitely experimented when I was playing, but I think I ended up always loving that initial sword,
right,
and just upgrading it. But I honestly haven't played it since like 2018. It's one of those games I'm like, I should go back and play that again. And
Dude,
I just never do.
Isn't it crazy that the day we actually talk the most about Nier is the day Edwin isn't not actually in chat?
That's why, because
Isn't
I
that
couldn't
fucking
stomach talking
hilarious?
about it more if
Isn't
he was
that?
here.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, if he was here, I would have ended the Nier talk a long time ago.
He's gonna have emotional damage like after knowing this.
I'm convinced that Edwin does not have real emotions. So you can bully him as much as you want.
Bro, except for Nier.
You can bully him as much as you want. I could have claimed I muted him. I could have claimed that, but I didn't. The thing that bothers me about Edwin and Nier is that I was the Nier stan in my life until Edwin entered into my life somehow. And then somehow Edwin gets to be the Nier guy. No. I'm the Nier stan. Can we end this episode by claiming that Drake is the GOAT?
Okay, I'm leaving
No.
now.
Kenneth Lander is the GOAT. Goodbye.
Lammer.